Hello everyone, welcome to this video. And in this video I'm going to explain how I became Hindu. Now I'm just your average white guy in Texas. How did I get to a place where Hinduism was the basis for my answer to what is the purpose of reality, does God exist, how does God exist, and how do I relate to the grander purpose of the universe and God himself. Now, from a very young age, I questioned the nature of reality. I started studying Buddhism at the age of 8 because I was curious, because my parents never really taught me anything. I didn't ask them about God because I didn't think that they knew, and my parents are basically atheists. So my questions weren't answered by them, and I sought other means to answer the bigger questions of life. I didn't feel like science was enough. I felt like science was an intrinsic part of the nature of reality, but I feel like there was always something behind it. So from a very young age, I started studying the different religions, the different world's religions. Buddhism is what stuck out to me when I looked at the definitions of the different religions as far as ending suffering. That's what really stuck out to me at the age of 8. And I thought, okay, if I can end my own suffering, because I've always been, I've always suffered from depression. If I can end my own suffering, that would be great. That was the basis of how I started when I was 8 years old. But as the years progressed, I studied Buddhism for a long time, and I started to fall into more materialistic desires, and I got away from the spiritual path of study, trying to understand the grander scope of the universe and if God exists. And I was never really satisfied with Buddhism, even towards the end of when I was studying it. And I still study it nowadays. I'm studying Zen Buddhism right now. It's still a topic that I love. I love Buddhism. I love studying all religions, really. But after I became very materialistic for years, I came back to trying to understand what the purpose of the universe was, if God exists, and how I fit into everything. How my soul is unique, and these questions weighed on me, and I eventually came back to the spiritual path of trying to understand it all. And it wasn't until I dropped out of college for a while. I wouldn't say dropped out, but I took a break from college for years, and I'm going back very soon. But while I was working at I think it was the first job I had after I took a break from college. The first job that I had, I could listen to audiobooks while I worked. It was very menial labor, very repetitive, not very mentally intriguing work. So I decided to listen to audiobooks, and I started to study through audiobooks and through reading as well. And I went to Buddhism, of course, because that's where I kind of left off. And when that didn't really satisfy me enough, I started to look into Hindu audiobooks, and I found the works of Paramahansa Yogananda. Paramahansa Yogananda is a yogi that came to the United States and kind of settled in Los Angeles, but traveled all throughout the United States, speaking about basically Hinduism, but how all the different religions have the same eternal seed in them. And Sanatana Dharma is the term for Hinduism that he uses, and the term that I use when asked about Hinduism, though I tell most people I'm Hindu. But the path of Sanatana Dharma is the official name that I subscribe to, and the lineage of Paramahansa Yogananda and his master Swami Sri Yukteswar, and then his master Lahiri Mashai, and his master Babaji, and then before that goes to Jesus Christ, and then Krishna. This is the lineage that I follow, and it is a lineage of Kriya Yoga, and a focus on meditation. Meditation is something that I still practice now, not as much as I used to, and I need to meditate more, but I still do meditate. And my honest thoughts on Hinduism is that when I found it and started to understand that, okay, the gods are different parts of the one God, and everything is really a part of one God, part of the spirit beyond creation. It's just the illusion of Maya that makes us think that we're separate. And then there's the spirit beyond creation, which is the true infinite, the actual form. Then there's the causal realm, then there's the astral realm, then there's a material realm. And varying levels of illusion and Maya throughout these different realms. And the astral realm does have the parts that are hell, which are very different from the the astral heavens, where you continue your search for God and your progression until you purify yourself enough and realize your true nature, which is basically being parts of God, and you reach the spirit beyond creation once again, and that's where we all started from. And Paramahansa Yogananda talks about how there are many Big Bangs, and that each time a Big Bang happens, it's like it's a day of Brahma, and then once that Big Bang draws back the galaxies into its original form, that's a night of Brahma, and then another day of Brahma. And there's a focus by and in Paramahansa Yogananda's works of recognizing that everything's a piece of God, and every religion is valid. They just recognize different pieces of God. But Hinduism is, of course, the path of Sanatana Dharma. Paramahansa Yogananda being a yogi, Kriya yogi in basically Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma. He believes that, and I believe, that Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, is the closest and most accurate depiction of God. And that's not to say that other religions are wrong, it's just to say that it is the most accurate religion, and that's why I subscribe to it, essentially. Now, I'm just an average white guy, and I came to understand these things after researching Buddhism for a while, and I failed to mention that I did go to church quite a bit, Catholic church, and go to basically Bible study meetings where there was Christian topics spoken about, and we'd study it. We'd study between these meetings every week, and there was pamphlets given to us and things like that, but it never really satisfied me. And I looked at my works going back, that I still have things that I wrote down, and I was saying, okay, if believing in Jesus helps me, then I'll do it, but it never really gave me Christianity never really gave me a satisfactory answer to anything. Now, Jesus Christ is in the lineage of Paramahansa Yogananda, and Jesus Christ is definitely an avatar. One whose consciousness is one with the Supreme Spirit beyond creation, God, but exists here in order to help everybody else towards the Spirit beyond creation, God, towards Ishwara, so to some Hindus. Now, to be honest, I've never found a question that I can ask in Hinduism that there isn't an answer for. There's always an answer to every question that I have in Hinduism, and I can answer almost anyone's question that is put to me with at least some small semblance of an answer. Even if I don't know the complete answer, I know at least the path upon which you can find that answer, or a grain of truth that I can throw out in order to lead that person in the right direction. Just because I've studied Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma basically for so long, and I've studied different religions for so long, and I'm not past helping people even reach God in their own religion. I give spiritual advice based on what anybody believes, whatever religion they're a part of. But I wanted to recommend two different books. I became Hindu through the study of audiobooks, taking notes as well, and through reading. And now there's two versions of the Bhagavad-Gita, there's two versions that I would recommend that are, basically the Bhagavad-Gita is the Hindu Bible, it is often called. Sometimes it's just called the Gita, but it's the Bhagavad-Gita. The Bhagavad-Gita as it is the closest translation to the original Bhagavad-Gita, in my opinion. But the one that's going to help you the most, and the one that draws the most knowledge out of every piece of the Bhagavad-Gita to where it will help you as a person and really show you the grander scope of the universe and God, is The Essence of the Bhagavad-Gita by Swami Kriyananda, but it's as remembered by Swami Kriyananda. So he's remembering what Paramahansa Yogananda told him, and he worked with Paramahansa Yogananda on this book, The Essence of the Bhagavad-Gita, and Swami Kriyananda is, of course, a disciple of Paramahansa Yogananda. I will, of course, put in some subtitles as far as how to spell Paramahansa Yogananda and Kriyananda. But these two books I would highly recommend. One is like a more literal translation. This one will gives you the most information that you need to know as far as what the Bhagavad-Gita is saying, and it's called the essence of the Bhagavad-Gita. I found Hinduism out of necessity. I found it out of a need to have my questions answered, a need to work my way towards God through a path that was both compassionate and logical. There's not proof for every part of Hinduism, but there's a lot of evidence coming out about meditation, about what different kinds of yoga does, and about and there's a lot of connections between dimensional theories and the multiverse theories that Hindus have known for a very long time. Ancient Hindu texts, and Hinduism has the oldest texts as far as human religions go, and we believe that these cycles are billions of years long, if not trillions. As far as, the days of Brahma are billions, and the nights of Brahma are billions, and then there's bigger cycles that are into the trillions. But and then the cycles kind of go down into smaller cycles that are parts of the bigger ones. But anyway, like Kali Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, different yugas, Y-U-G-A, are the grander cycles. But I needed to find answers to, as far as the idea of of heaven and hell, what is the Hindu equivalent, how can I understand this scientifically, and the idea of dimensions in Hinduism, and the idea of different universes and different life forms in this universe, and in the different galaxies, and different galaxies being tamasic, being rajasic, being sattvic, which is more dark, diluted, is tamas. And these three natures make up everything in the universe, and to varying mixtures. Rajasic is restlessness, and then sattvic is purity. And these are the three different natures that coalesce to form the natures of all the things that exist in the universe. Our own solar system is Rajasic, which is kind of in between, the restless in between between darkness and light. But I've read a lot of new scientific theories coming out with some backing about dimensions and universes that Hinduism has been talking about for thousands of years, and it's the oldest surviving religion that we have evidence of in human history. It's been surviving for thousands and thousands of years, far more than any other surviving religion. Now, I believe that civilization, humankind, has cycles to it, and recorded history isn't as far back as true human history goes. It's just what we have evidence of. But these questions led me to Hinduism, and Hinduism gave me a satisfactory answer to every one of my questions, and that's how I came to it. And it was out of necessity to understand. I'm still trying to understand, and I study all religions still. I study the gods of my ancient Viking ancestors, the gods that they were worshiping for a long time, and now Asatru has budded. It's called a Reconstructionist religion, but I think it's a little bit more than Reconstructionist, but that coalesces with ideas in Hinduism as well. Asatru and Hinduism work very well together, and I consider myself a member of both, but Hindu first and foremost. I think I've given enough information about how I came to Hinduism. It was out of curiosity and need to answer questions that my parents and my society could not answer for me, so I sought it in other places. And I'm very satisfied with the path that I've found. So if you have any questions about, my Hindu beliefs or how I came to Hinduism, feel free to shoot them down there in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out these books, the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, and the essence of the Bhagavad-Gita as remembered from Paramahansa Yogananda by his disciple Swami Kriyananda. Don't forget to check out these books and just explore the different religions. Find which ones you like best. If you find that you still don't believe God exists, or you still are happy with your religion, that's fine. But open your mind and try and understand the universe for yourself, because everyone's mind is unique. Everyone's brain has different potentials, a unique potential that can come to flowering if embraced, or be crushed if not sought. And I hope all of y'all have a great day. It's Thanksgiving here, so I just wanted to be thankful for my Hindu path, and I wanted to make this video of how I became Hindu, how I became a Hindu. And what are you thankful for? there's so much to see in this world, and there's so much that we have. So just be thankful. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a great day.